All right, guys, we're at home again here. An evening match this time against Al-Gharafa, I think it is. I don't know very much about this team that we're playing against. I'll have to do a little bit of research and figure things out. We're hoping to do well after that big victory that we had yesterday. So let's see if we can continue to pound them away with this strikerless setup. We are in 6th position. They are in 13th. Of course, it's too early in the season to really say one way or another who's good and who's not. But if we could get a victory here, that would make things a lot easier for us going forward. I'm not going to try to say that guy's name. We're getting to the point where we have names written in alphabets that I am incapable of reading. And so we'll not worry about it too much. And let's get this ball off of them. Boy, that was a real dangerous attempt to win the ball. You don't want to see a two-legged tackle like that. And they're passing it around pretty nicely, but they're not making any progress with it. And we do get the ball. Oh Min-gyu, who's back in, over to Jong Hyun Choi, I think it was. Yin-gu ended up with a shot there at the end of that, and that was caught straight away by their keeper. Came just off of injury. He's been out for quite some time. And there he is with it again, but he gives up possession right away. So we're getting some guys back from the injury bugs. Ki Sung-young over to Lee Taek-soo, who finds it's Jung Se-jung, who he finds there up front, who ends up shooting it for the first goal. We have scored within 4 minutes, and that is the way that things looked, if you'll recall, at Mars FC, where we're getting so many guys moving forward into great position that it's almost laughter, right? So Kim Jin-sung could have taken that when I said it was Jung Se-jung who ended up with the ball and shooting there into the far post and knocking that in off the post and in for the goal. But there were two guys that could have scored that one. Lee Taek-soo now with it over to Yutchenko, and Yutchenko is dispossessed and then passes down to Kim Jin-sung it goes back to Yutchenko. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Somebody missed something. Oh Min-gyu ends up kicking that one up and over everybody's head, and it doesn't quite work out. That could have been a little bit better, I think, and we may be giving up a goal here. We do. It's Yassine Brahimi who scores for them, and that makes us a 1-1 tie, and that was a real difficult thing for Novak to take care of. He's not quite that good. In fact, we just gave him a professional contract, the 15-year-old. We figured that it would probably be a good idea to give him a full contract if we're going to play him as a full professional. So we need to get back here again and get this ball off of them before they have another good shot on goal. And let's see what we can do. We've let them come in here through the back, and we've given up a corner. So we did get a goal early on, which is a good sign, but we are under a lot of pressure right now. And here comes the corner, and it's Novak who jumps up and grabs that one. Very, very well done. Now, remember, we're not really out here necessarily to win the league. We just want to finish in the top half. That's what the board expects. Oh Min-gyu with this now, right side. And, oh, man, he's got Yutchenko up there up front, and that was a really good save there by their keeper. Man, that was one of those classics. Here's Lee Taek-soo here with the corner, and ends up with nobody. And we end up back to Jung Se-jung over to Ki Sung-young, down to Lee Taek-soo. Lee Taek-soo does a good job, but can't quite get around his defender, and that's out for another throw. So this doesn't work quite the way that we were hoping it would. But this pass up here was just excellent and incisive, and that caused, what was his name, Youssef, to make an absolutely amazing save to prevent that one from going in. That's what we like to see. We like to see passes like that. That warms my soul. Let's get this ball off of them again, and Oh Min-gyu tries to and just can't quite finish the deed. And Novak ends up having to use his feet to save that one and keeps that one out, which is a good thing, but it's out for another corner. So the pressure continues to mount, and this is headed back, but not really headed back all that far. And let's see if Aladdin can score. No, instead he has the ball taken away from him, so it's a good defensive stand on our part. We're going to have to make some changes here at halftime. We have a center back who's not playing well and a defensive midfielder who looks like he's not awake either. This happens from time to time. And we need to have a little bit more quality there, especially in the back, because that's what sets up our goal-scoring ways. And Ahmad has tons of space. And finally, Yutchenko knocks this one out, and that is the end of the half. So 1-1 is the score here at the end of half time. And we'll go ahead and make those changes now. We'll go take a quick look here at our tactics. Yeah, I mean, Kim Ju-sung is not playing as well as he could. We're going to put Noah back on because he played very, very well before. And this is the other one I'm looking at, Ian Gu, who just came off of injury. We're going to put Oh Sang-jin back on. He's the one who just scored all those goals. Yulchenko also doing poorly, so Pavlovic is going to come on for him. That looks good for now. 3 out of our 5 changes we'll make here at the half, and then we'll save the other 2 in our back pocket for when we need it here in a little bit. And Lee Taek-soo is knocked down pretty easily there. That was kind of unfortunate for him, and so we are playing behind the 8 ball right away. But Kim Shin-jin ends up winning this off of his man up to Lee Taek-soo, ends up with Pavlovic over to Kim Jin-sung, over to No again in the back, over to Kim Jin-sung, over to Lee Taek-soo, and that's knocked behind him and off for a corner. So we'll see what we can do here. Of course, I didn't change up any of the corner players at all. So and it ends up not going so well, probably because we don't have very tall players there in the back anymore. I'm not exactly sure who we have back there and who is playing where in the corner. I guess I could check, but I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time going over corner routines. This is, I know that they've changed the way the corners work in FM24. I haven't tried it yet, so I can't tell you whether it's good or not, but the old system is definitely not good, and it's very frustrating because you don't want to have to move players around over and over and over again. I just want to say, okay, the guy who's tall or the guy who's best at heading or whatever needs to do this. That makes more sense than having to change it every time you make a substitution. That's ridiculous. There's No again, and he finds Pavlovic. Back to No. Forward looking for Jung Se-jong, and can't quite get there in time, but he gets the ball afterwards and he scores, and that's going to make this 2-1 for FC Seoul. So he's stuck with that one, and that's going to drive their coach absolutely nuts. That was very, very well done. He's just not quite able to get it up here, and Tamim has it, passes it back to his keeper, and actually he doesn't. He sort of stands there with it. Jung Se-jong gets there in time, and that's goal number 2 for us. So not too bad. We had a dominant victory in the last match, and this time we're up in a close one, 2-1. And let's see if we can do a little bit more here. Can we? We're going to need to make a change in the back. We'll wait and see what happens here. We got lucky. That was off the top crossbar. And we're going to make another change here. So we're going to take off, it's Kim Shin-jin who has the yellow card. We'll take him off and put Lee Han-bun on for him in the very back. And let's see if that gives us just a little bit more quality in the back. I tell you, that 15-year-old Vietnamese kid is a great player. I'm very, very excited when he comes on, and he seems to be doing well. About 5-6 minutes maybe plus added time. Lee Taek-soo over to Pavlovic, who can't win that. Pavlovic looks just slow, and that's the thing. I don't mind having foreign players on the team, of course, but we want to have young players who look fast, not these old guys who can barely run and who look like they're huffing and puffing all the way down. It's Oh Min-kyu who ends up winning this in the back, and so that prevents another goal. He takes it over to Jun Se-jong. Ends up with Kim Jin-sung with it, and looking for Oh Sang-jin, can't get in front of that. Oh Min-kyu over to Kim Jin-sung. Jung Hyun-chul now back to Oh Min-kyu. He's looking for Oh Sang-jin, and that's where the lack of cohesion and tactical familiarity hurts you, because you got 2 guys standing in the same place, and nobody knows what the other guy's going to do. So that's what happens when you change horses midstream. You're not supposed to do that. It's Abraham Lincoln who taught us that. And Oh Min-kyu, with patience, is able to win this. Oh Sang-jin now to Jung Se-jong. And he didn't really have a very good touch on that ball and lost it predictably. And now we've been trying for the interception instead of trying to actually play defense, and that almost hurt us. Novak with an amazing save. And if he can keep making saves like that, then we are in good business. This is knocked back, and it's going to be who has it. It's one of their players, and they have another corner. So we're in trouble here. We better hope that we can prevent this one from going in, and that was taken a little bit too quickly. I don't think anybody was ready for that corner. And it's Ki Sung-young here who knocks this forward, looking for Lee Han-bun, can't quite find him. And it looks like they're going to mount one more final counterattack, but Lee Taek-soo is there to win it. Lee Taek-soo, one of the heroes, and that is the end of the match. We've won this one 2-1. And I thought we looked fairly dominant. We only had about 40% of the possession, but we had the 1.72 XG, so we did dominate more or less, and it's a 2-1 victory. How sweet it is. I'll talk with you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.